In this video, I'm gonna share how I coached myself from a complete beginner to a 5.0 in under 5 months. We'll watch and analyze gameplay footage from each month so you can see my progression. At each step, we'll talk about what was holding me back from the next level and how I overcame it. And to the extent that there are insights that can help anybody get from one level to the next level, we'll try to identify them. Plus, I'll shed some light on what it's like to progress beyond 5.0. By the end of this video, you'll know the essential thing to focus on at each stage of your progression. I promise that you'll leave this video with some fresh ideas on how to improve your game. This is where I'm at today. I just registered for my first pro tournament. I made it to the finals of a local money ball and played against 2 full-time professionals. And I'm sponsored by the biggest brand in pickleball. And I bought my first paddle less than a year ago. We'll work back to present day, but let's start from the beginning. The day I ordered my first paddles. Pickleball was all over the news, and I thought it might be a fun thing for me to play with my family over Thanksgiving. I didn't actually start playing until November. I discovered a park nearby called Maxim that had open play all the time, and so I just started going and dropping in and playing with whoever would let me mix in with them. I don't have any footage from this period, but just imagine somebody over-enthusiastically swinging at every ball, not really knowing what they were doing. Towards the end of December, I was playing rec with a group of 4.0 to 4.5 players, and I was hanging in with them. So I think I would say I reached around 4.0 in those first 2 months. And that was just from playing a lot. And I think that's the case for most players. If you just play a lot, you'll get to a point where you can play respectable pickleball. In the month of January, I really decided that I wanted to get good at pickleball. I played a round robin and met my first tournament partner. Here's a clip of us practicing in advance of the tournament. We signed up for a 4-5 PPA tournament. The main thing you'll notice here is that there are just a lot of errors. I miss a serve, my opponent misses a dink and a speed up, and more often than not, the point's already over before both teams are at the kitchen. In this last point, I'm just really excited because I didn't make the error. Later that month, we played the tournament, won our first round, and then ended up beating the first seed in the second round before the tournament got rained out. All it took to win those matches was getting to the kitchen a little bit more frequently than our opponents. And once you're at the kitchen, the level is so low at 4.5, it was just a coin flip on who would make the first error. When I think about this period of getting from 4.0 to 4.5, far and away the most important thing was simply making it to the kitchen. Players at this level make so many errors on their drops and their drives, and when that happens, you can't score points. In contrast, when you do make drops and drives, your opponents at this level will oftentimes make errors at the net on their 4ths and 6ths. So if I were trying to get to 4.5 again, the main thing I would focus on is just getting to the kitchen, learning how to hit consistent 3rds and 5ths, and being patient, working my way up to the kitchen. If you're getting to the kitchen 60, 70, 80% of the time, I guarantee you that you're going to be winning 90% of your games at 4.5. In February and March, I was feeling confident in 4.5, and I wanted to train so I could medal in a 5.0 tournament. But before we get into that, if you're enjoying this video so far, consider liking this video and subscribing to my channel. It helps other great players like yourself find my stuff. Here are some clips from February. You'll notice still a lot of errors, bad speed ups, but overall improvements at our ability to get to the kitchen. And in March, you'll notice we're at the kitchen quite often. The kitchen game looks a lot more comfortable, although there are still routine pop-ups and errors off of dinks. There's a little more pressure from the kitchen when the serving team is trying to make it up to the kitchen. And you can start to see some decent resets being hit as well. By the end of this month, I would say I was comfortably in the 5.0 range. I was signed up for a 5.0 tournament in April and was winning rec games against 5.0 players. But as you can see from these clips, it's really nothing special. If winning games in 4.5 takes getting to the kitchen, winning games in 5.0 takes getting to the kitchen, and then minimizing your errors once you're at the kitchen. In April, I played my first 5.0 tournament and got silver. I don't have footage from the tournament itself, but here's some practice footage from the same month. I was starting to figure out how to work in 3rd shot drives to set up easy 5th shot drops, or crashing if my opponent popped up the ball. And as you can see in this last point, everybody's kitchen game is much improved and the points are lasting a lot longer. In May, June, and July, I played a local Moneyball tournament called Kappa each month. In May, after a successful run at our 5-0 PPA, I thought I had a good chance of placing in this Moneyball, which was basically a 5-0 plus tournament. But unfortunately, we had an off day and we couldn't get the fundamentals right. We weren't getting to the kitchen as frequently as we should, and I was making routine dink errors, speeding up the wrong balls, and popping things up for my opponents to attack. This was a good reminder that as the level improves, your opponent's fundamentals are going to improve. So if you're lacking the ability to get to the kitchen one day, or you're lacking the ability to stay consistent at the kitchen one day, it doesn't really matter how good your attacks are, or your weapons, or your special skills, you're going to lose. Because if you can't get to the kitchen, you can't score points. And if you're less consistent there than your opponents at the kitchen, you're not going to be winning points even if you do get to the kitchen. I played it again and turned it around. This time, we were able to get to the kitchen consistently, and I was not making errors at the kitchen. And on top of that, was dealing with our opponent's offense well and creating some of my own offense. Overall, we did a great job, and we only lost one match in the semifinals. Look how much longer the points can last at this level. In July, I played the event again, and this time we got silver. The main thing I developed between June and July was an off-the-bounce speed up, which was really effective. In August, I drilled a lot and improved my kitchen game. My dinks weren't just unattackable anymore, they were varied, and when I had opportunities, I could apply pressure from the kitchen to force pop-ups. I was developing better speed-ups, counters, and resets, and my court positioning was significantly improved. Just look how much longer these points are. And not only are these points longer, they're way more fun to play, which is part of my motivation of sharing learnings on how to raise your level. Pickleball, in my experience, just gets more and more fun the higher the level gets. And in this most recent month, September, we played that Moneyball again and made it to the finals and had the opportunity to play the best team that I've ever played in a tournament. Both these guys are full-time pros and incredible players. When we got to the kitchen, we were right there with them. We were winning a lot of points, and the points were long and hard fought. But there was one thing that prevented us from being more competitive in this match, and it was getting to the kitchen. If you're seeing a theme, you're not imagining things. It is the foundation of pickleball. If you cannot get to the kitchen, you cannot win. Whether you're in 4-0, 4-5, 5-0, or pro. It is a requirement. So, a little disappointed with the result, especially losing because of something so fundamental, but it happens. When I reflect on this period, I think getting to 5-0 plus is mainly about reinforcing your fundamentals. It's bulletproofing your ability to get to the kitchen, bulletproofing consistency at the kitchen, and starting to develop your signature dishes in keeping with this kitchen metaphor. What that means is figuring out what types of offense work best for you and making sure that you can neutralize your opponent's offense. But that's for another day. The focus of this video is getting to 5-0 as quickly as you want. And to that end, my summary is this. From beginner to 4-0, just play a lot and have fun. If you develop a love for the game, you'll continue to get better, and you'll get 4-up from just figuring out how to hit the ball over the net. From 4-0 to 4-5, you need to focus intensely on getting to the kitchen. That means drilling your third shots, whether they're drives or drops. I recommend focusing mostly on drops because you can reach the highest levels by dropping every time, but you cannot reach the highest levels by driving every time. And from 4-5 to 5-0, you need to learn how to cook or be consistent at the kitchen. That means bulletproofing your dinks, making sure they're unattackable, and then once you get comfortable with hitting unattackable dinks and being able to reset your opponents with aggressive dinks, then you can start working in some variation in your dinks, your push dinks, move your opponents around, that kind of thing. What we don't need up till this point is to develop any crazy weapons. You don't need like a Ben Johns backhand flick. You don't need a Matt Wright off the bounce forehand speed up. You really don't need anything fancy. It's just meat and potatoes pickleball at this point. And then once you go from 5.0 and beyond, that's when you can start developing some special stuff. Whether that's speed ups or counters or whatever suits your game. But even at this point, a lot of your focus should just be around making it impossible for you to miss drops. Making it impossible for you to pop up a ding. When I play with pros, that's the main thing that stands out, that it's really just second nature for them to get to the kitchen. It's really just second nature for them to dink until they decide not to dink anymore. So knowing what I know now, I think I probably could have gone to 5.0 in half the time. And while speedrunning your pickleball development might not be for everyone, if you do want to enjoy the quality of the game at higher levels, this helped. This video was a way for me to reflect on my journey and share any lessons that I learned along the way. Leave a comment if you have any questions or if there are any topics you want me to follow up on in another video. And thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, it helps me a lot if you like the video and subscribe to the channel. It helps other great players like you find my stuff. And most of all, have fun playing pickleball.